Hey, ladies and gentlemen, KocoSports.com here, and today we're debuting a new series. We're calling it 5 Stars or Better. This is where myself, sexiest man on all of Western Radio, that's right, Boom Boom here shaking the room, and of course my partner, Dave Koco, over in Japan. We're going to review all the matches ranked 5 stars or better by professional wrestling journalist Dave Meltzer. And so there was like a huge list to choose from. And real quick, Coco, I just want to lay out, kind of what the criteria was for. We actually found a blog, and it had a listing of all the matches. It's iwnerd.com if people want to get specific here, and it listed off all the matches that Dave Meltzer ranked 5 or better. And it was like, you know what? Let's take a look at these matches for ourselves. Let's see how they look. Let's see, if they still hold up. Let's look at the context surrounding them, and let's just have a good time. So we're going to take a look at it. And now the first one we're going to look at, Coco, is the first one ever ranked 5 stars or better. It was a 5-star match between Tiger Mask versus Dynamite Kid. This took place in April of 1983. Now, this was in Japan. And just to kind of give you, and I want to give you some context to this match here, is these two were basically in the middle of a feud. They had a series. Dynamite Kid had worked for New Japan since 1979, and this was also at a period of time where the WWF and New Japan had a little bit of a working agreement. So this was mainly they were feuding over the NWA and the WWF Junior Heavyweight titles. Tiger debuted against Dynamite Kid and actually won, and so they had a series of matches. They had matches in April of 1981, New Year's Day of 1982, January 20th of 1982. They had another match July of 82, August 5th, 82, August 30th, 82, and this would wind up being their final singles match, which took place April 21st, 1983. Now, of all these matches, of all the 7 out of the 7 matches they had, Tiger Mask won 6 of them. The only one that Dynamite Kid won was in July of 82, and he had won that match due to countout because that young whippersnapper, Bret Hart, interfered in the match and helped to get Tiger Mask counted out, or won via I think it was a countout actually. And so that was the only match so in this place in the context, because Coco, you can actually go into this match here, you can kind of see some of that anger, that desperation on Dynamite Kid, because he desperately wanted to beat Tiger Mask squarely in the ring, and not only beat him, but wanted to beat him in his home country. He just could not get that win. He wanted it so bad, and these guys pulled out all the stops, and that's why I think this match rose to the top. So, Coco, I mean, just real quick, we'll kind of get started in this match about, initial impressions of this matchup. Do you think it kind of lives up to the hype?
I think it does. I really do. And I watched a couple of Meltzer's things, and we'll get to the match. I just want to talk about Meltzer because I think people hold him to the highest standard of journalism or think he's a piece of poop and he makes everything up. I just think he's a pro wrestling reporter that started at a very early time. You know what I mean? And because no one else was covering this, he shot to the top. I don't have strong feelings one way or the other. But I've been a little etchy of coming back to the review game. I was like, man, I don't know. I give my opinion and just everyone is sad. You know what I mean? It's like, but then I was thinking, well, you have to have a code, like what you believe in. I think every reviewer should have a video of this is what I think makes great matches. The reason why is either you become 3 reviewers. You become Jim Cornette, who's angry at everything. You become a middle of the guy road hoping you get subscriptions because you call it down the middle, but you're not really giving opinions. Or you become a positive Petey where you say everything is awesome. I think after watching a couple of these matches, I know what Meltzer likes. You know what I mean? And I think reviewers, I might do this later this week, what you expect in a match. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, you shouldn't have that code. But you don't want to be, I don't mean to pick on Jim Cornette, you don't want to be a Jim Cornette and just say everything fucking sucks, including stuff that you put on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But you also don't want to be everything is awesome. And you also don't want to be a guy that's like, oh, it's, it's good. I don't know. I think if you're in review business, there should be like maybe an intro video or something. You're like, oh, I believe in this. I believe in that. I believe in this. Because a lot of times people give Meltzer shit because he's like, oh, if it's a Japanese match, he's going to give it 5 stars. Oh, if it's a AEW match, he's going to have 5 stars. But if you see what he's reviewing, he is kind of calling it down that way. He likes it to feel real. He likes to have passion. He likes the fans to be into it. You know what I mean? So you kind of see what he wants, and then you see a John Cena, Dave Batista match, and you're like, yeah, he's not going to like that. I don't think that is, as the kids would say, player hating. I think it's just when you have a review, you should have a guidelines of what you're reviewing. And I think some people disagree with that. I think watching a couple of these 5-star matches, I'm like, okay, I know what type of match he likes. But overall, I really enjoyed the match, and I was just thinking, this is Cruiserweight Wrestling, and it was done in the 80s. Like, a lot of times people don't realize this. They're like, oh, it's a spot fest, it's this, it's that, I hate it. It was that way. The thing is, they had a couple technical wrestling in there, and they took it seriously. And there's a lot of stuff I want to break down. All right, can I just break it down now before I get all rumble jumping?
Let's break it down. And again, we need to remind the audience here. If you're checking this match out, now I know there's going to be some smart ass who gets on and goes, well, I saw it wasn't that great of a match. Well, bro, you have to look at the context, which I just laid out for you at the beginning of this little podcast here. So I kind of like set up kind of what was going on at the time. So now there's a context for reason what they do. And plus, this was not made for an audience in current year. This was a match made for the audience back in 1983. And for 1983, this was like a Young Bucks match, like today, back then. And this was something completely not really seen, not mainstream. So I'm trying to add some context to it. So, Koco, let's start it off here. I think the first thing that got my attention was they went straight out the chute with quick flashes of agility. They immediately went to the outside. There was a plancha through the second and third ropes, and then they hit like this just big spot on the mat. That seems like something we would see today. This happened back in 1983. Koco, to just pick up where I left off.
Yeah, well, one thing I just want to add, I'm taking notes, try not to cut you off like I always do. I think it holds up today. You put this on a New Japan match, it holds up. I think you put it on an AEW show, it holds up. I hate to say it, but this is Cruiserweight Wrestling. B, it's awesome. C, it's not something new. D, do not trust a reviewer that doesn't fucking lay his shit out, because being in the wrestling business or reviewing the wrestling business, let me tell you something. You want to be a booker? Every heavyweight wrestler in the world hates cruiserweights. Every cruiserweight wrestler hates hardcore. Every hardcore wrestler hates technical. So I don't understand why people get reviews from pro wrestlers. I've been around a million pro wrestlers. Guess what? Dave Batista's gonna be like, you gotta have muscles. John Cena's like, you gotta fucking suck dick. Ricochet's gonna be like, you gotta be a cruiserweight wrestler. Mick Foley's like, you know what I mean? So wrestlers are only gonna put themselves over. So watching that is stupid. But I think it holds up to this time, and I think the technical wrestling was pretty decent and awesome. I thought the cruiserweight match was awesome, and I like going back to these flashbacks because people that are like, oh no, fucking it's a spot fest, it's this, it's that. They did it.
One spot I should mention was that Tiger Mask did basically an equivalent of, I don't know what it was called then, but today we would call it a fake out 619.
Yeah.
Like he was about to do a plancha, and then he just went through the second and third ropes, like Rey Mysterio does. He did that, and this was again 1983.
And I think that people should watch this because if you're going to be a pro wrestler, enjoy it. If you are a fan and you want to know the history, enjoy it. Because they're doing stuff that athletes are doing today, way back then. Not only that, but they combined cruiserweight and technical wrestling and made it look real. And you better like pile drivers. They love their pile drivers in this match. And not only that, but
they did several spots where they were like scared of that Tombstone Piledriver. They were trying to avoid getting hit with that one like crazy.
and not only that, but they, as workers, especially Tiger Mask, made it seem real. Today's product, television product, I'd say WWE, but WWE fans are going to get cranky, have perfected it so much that it is beyond fucking horrible. They are so safe. There was a thing where, Dynamite Kid was going for a fucking pile driver, and he wiggled his way out of it. And I was like, that fucking looked real. It was a bit sloppy. Vince was like, Jesus fucking Christ. But it looked fucking real. It was like, oh shit, he's trying, I think if it's so perfect, it looks like dancing. You know what I mean? And this wasn't perfect. And they had some great technical spots and all that. And this is the last thing I have to, if I could say about this. I enjoyed it. Please watch it. This is one of the fucking things I want people to understand. There's a myth about Japanese wrestling fans that they're quiet and when they like something, they'll clap. Bullshit. You're not over. The Japanese fans of all Japan, the 80s, the 90s, went insane. Now, granted, they weren't holding signs saying, look at me, but they were having a great fucking time. And then, slowly but surely, that's the thing. I don't think Japanese people complain enough unless it's about white people living in our neighborhood. But they don't really complain enough, but they just don't show up and cheer. And somewhere along the line, a lot of foreign wrestlers came here and didn't get it. And now it's like, yay, they're so respectful. It's like, no, put on a great goddamn fucking show, man. So, Booms, back to you.
All right. Anyway, they took it to the outside, and then the bell rang. Now, the cast that we're watching is in Japanese, and obviously I don't speak Japanese, and Dave, despite living in Japan for over a decade, still doesn't speak any Japanese. So it was ruled either like a no contest or a draw, but the both men got in the ring. They kind of lobbied, and so they restarted the match. Immediately hit it with a tombstone. Tiger, rolled out. The bell rang again. So there was your second other, I guess, no contest or draw. So then Tiger comes back in. Dynamite, keeps asking for one more. They can't. Referee keeps trying to keep them apart. They keep scrapping. And finally, and Tiger asks for one more. The referee says, okay, so we'll restart the match. And then here we go. This is when the match really picked up. Dynamite Kid finally hit a tombstone, and then he hit his trademark diving headbutt. Kind of makes me cringe now, knowing what I know now about that maneuver and about what happened to Dynamite Kid later on in life because of that. But still a good spot. Tiger countered. He hit his own tombstone. Again, they go back to the outside, and then they had a nice little spot where they're both jockeying for a German suplex. And that is something that Tiger had been using to win. These two have been hit like a German suplex, and Tiger had been finishing off Dynamite Kid with a moonsault. So he was working his game just not to get caught in that again. Again, goes to the outside. They throw him into the barricade. The bell rings. Now, this is where it gets a little ridiculous. Dynamite Kid pulled two bottles out from the ring, like he was going to hit him with a glass bottle. He hit the referee. Again, Dynamite Kid asked for one more, and guess what? They got one more. Then this is you just kind of go through this transition where Dynamite Kid's ripping and tearing at Tiger Mask. He's trying to pull the mask off. and then they go back to the outside. Bell rings again. Both men are back in. Both guys are asking for one more. Uh, you know, the Tiger goes back on the attack. They finally stopped the match right there, and they called it right there. So they had what was officially listed as 3 consecutive draws. So they really didn't have any finality with this match. Ended in a draw, and I don't know what would become of the championships at the time. And this would be the last match that these two had. And I'll tell you what, I'll save this for last. You go ahead and finish up here, and I'll tell you kind of give you like the epilogue of this. So, real quick, Koco, just your impressions, of the match. It started to pick up. They started jockeying for position. There was ripping at the mast. They were tombstoning each other. They were just really, Dynamite Kid was losing his damn mind, pulling out bottles. Just what the fuck do you think?
Yeah, the bottle thing was a bit off, but I think, back then, confusion made it seem more real. And I kind of missed that. Now, don't be Dusty Rhodes and every night be like, oh, guess what? You really didn't win, the Dusty finish. Don't be Dusty Rhodes and use confusion all the time. But sometimes people get in the ring, controlled confusion, pro wrestling indie companies, controlled confusion, not legit confusion. Controlled confusion sometimes makes it seem more real. You know what I mean? Like there are times where managers run out of the dugout, coaches come off the bench, there's times where it's just there's confusion. So that's a good thing. Now you don't want to do it every night. If this was, back to back, never do anything back to back in pro wrestling. You'll always get rated lower by me. But if it was back to back confusing in matches, that would be horrible. But every now and then, it's just like, what the fuck's going on? You know what I mean? It makes you alert, and it kind of makes it seem more real in a good way. Now, controlled confusion, and not all the time. It could be a good thing. I enjoy the finals. As a man that's watched way too much pro wrestling, I honestly, I probably seen this match in a long time ago. I doubt I saw it live, but I probably seen it, through a history of watching pro wrestling. And I forgot the finish. I enjoyed it. I really did. I was like, oh, fuck, what's going to fucking happen? You know what I mean? And they were quick to cut the video off. They're like, boop, that's it. And it wasn't even the guy that we were watching it. It's just, you could hear the music. They just cut the match off for the, VHS. But overall, I really enjoyed it. Loved the finish, and controlled confusion every now and then makes everything seem more real.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an art that I think is lost in pro wrestling. Overall, I enjoyed it a lot, and I liked how the technical stuff wasn't loosey-goosey. I think a lot of today's technical wrestlers are loosey-goosey on that. But yeah, overall, I think it's worth watching, and overall, I understand why it got 5 stars, especially in 1983. So I enjoyed it a lot. I don't really rate matches by 5 stars, but I could see why Meltzer would do it.
Okay, so you do believe it still holds up. It lives up to the hype.
I believe so. You put this on an All Japan show, a New Japan show, AEW show. It's not winning match of the year, but it holds up. I think it holds up. Booms, hot tag to you.
I think it does. Just a little epilogue to this. Now, these two would never meet again until what would I believe would become Dynamite Kid's last match. These two met in a 6-man tag match in Michinoku Pro Wrestling in October of 1996. These two would have like one exchange together in that 6-man tag match. And I believe it lasted less than 2 minutes, and they really didn't do much. So, and of course, after that, Dynamite Kid suffered from a series of health issues. He got hurt in a tag match. Somebody had stuck their leg up on the rope. He ran into it, and it messed him up. It hurt him. And he would go on to be, I almost say, completely wheelchair bound, but he had a lot of health issues and then later passed away. Tiger Mask Satoru Sayama. He would leave New Japan. I don't even know. I think he may have actually left pro wrestling altogether, just mainly due to politics and backstage deals. He would get replaced by, I believe it was Masawa, who replaced him as Tiger Mask 2. And so, but these guys left a hell of a mark. I mean, both of these guys. This is also a match that's still talked about today. It's when you talk about 5-star matches, they do bring up Dynamite Kid, Tiger Mask. And I think it does live up to the hype, and I think it holds up quite well. And as far as me recommending people check it out, yes, I would recommend checking it out, but I would also encourage people to kind of know like the context of it, because otherwise you don't know why they're doing what they're doing. So when I looked up the context of what was going on, like the frustration building up with Dynamite Kid, because he had yet to get a clean victory over Tiger Mask, you can kind of just feel that frustration that he was feeling, knowing that it was for a championship. That these two were just jockeying back and forth. There was the finishes where he would get hit with the German suplex, then later the moonsault and lose. You can kind of just see, okay, he's learning from that. He's trying to avoid getting hit with that. It was a great match, and I think it lives up to the hype.
Yeah. And we're going to do this for every 5-star match, and it's
that we can find.
Yeah, that we can find. And the reason why is because I want to do timeless content, because with my job and Boom Boom's job and travel and everything that's going on and time zones, it's kind of like we still want to make content, but we can't keep up with the active product. And I worry, like, I kind of want to come back to reviewing, but I want it to be my voice, and I kind of am not scared, but is it even worth it? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to watch other reviewers, and I'm just like, yeah, I'd rather just not do it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But this Boom Boom came up with an idea, and I thought this was great because I like the idea. Me and Boom Boom are older. We definitely watched this one in the archives. We're not that old, but we watched it in the archives. And I like to see if how great it was is how you remember it. You know what I mean? And it's also to see what people consider the best wrestling in the world. And to me, 1983, it holds up. I don't know if it's a 5-star match today, but sure as hell could go on any pay-per-view around the world. So our goal is to watch them all. Some of them will be harder to find than others. And we'll eventually get some Stump the Idiot, some news. We don't want to... We are very busy, and we don't want to give up on the channel. But at the same time, we want to have fun and something that's doable. And I thought this is a great idea by Boom Boom, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Booms, do you have anything else you got to say, brother?
No, just everybody stay strong, and just be sure to subscribe to us. We're on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Just give us a positive review, subscribe to us, hit that notification bell. We're going to try to crank out this content as soon as we can. And hey, we're going to put the links down in the doodly-doo there, so check out the match and tell me what you think. Look in there and go, yeah, I think you guys have a point, or no, you guys are way off. Either way, just let us know.
All right. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out DaveKoco.com, KocoSports.net. I stream all the time on Twitch.tv, KocoSports. That's been my new passion. And I got a novel coming out, pre-order, Lucky the Orphan. It's loosely based off my life. It was cleaned up a lot. But it's a feel-good story about an orphan living in New Jersey in the 80s that would do anything for Nintendo. So this was during Lucky the Orphan's time period. This is it. But yeah, overall, I'm having fun. And yeah, I just want to make content, but I don't want, Golden Star Alex and Twitch says it best. Dave, come back and review wrestling. Come back and review wrestling. This is my opinion. I thought we were friends. How could you say that? And it's like, okay, well, I'm going to go back to play video games. Booms, I love you, brother. Send me links to the next one. I got 2 days off, so if we want to do one more, and then starting next weekend, I have 10 days off. So maybe we can get a bunch in the can. All right?
All right. Sounds good.
Love you. Like, comment, subscribe. With that, I am over. Ba-na-na-na-na-na. Hey, ba-dum-bum-bum.